Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mace, coming to you from Canada. You guessed it, you got it, you know it. Dutch couple helps honor Canadian Indigenous soldiers who helped liberate the Netherlands. This sounds like an awesome story. I really think these little stories that we can get from such a grand world event in history, like a world war, to get these stories of humanity and kindness and courage and generosity, to find these little stories and people keeping memories alive, and the commemorations and the celebrations and the ceremonies that are of thanks and thanking, and the ties around the world. It's pretty cool. So let's check this out. And Canadian Indigenous soldiers who deserve more awareness and deserve more recognition for their roles. And Indigenous peoples were treated horribly in Canada, and still to this day, you know, there's intergenerational trauma that happens from the way the Canadian government dealt with the Indigenous, and to still have soldiers that fought for Canada is pretty incredible, and their stories should be told. Let's get to it.
Stanford Solis, a member of the Wolastoqey First Nation, was 22 years old when he enlisted in the Canadian Armed Forces.
22.
And 28 when he died.
No, Uncle
6 years
Stanford
later.
did not come home. Sadly, he had sustained according to what the military records say, a brain hemorrhage from a fall he had experienced.
Buried among hundreds of other soldiers at the Holten War Cemetery in the Netherlands, Solis has long been recognized for his service as a Canadian service member, but not as an Indigenous soldier until now.
It's important to be able to recognize the Indigenous contribution, because a lot of people don't know and understand what they have done throughout our Canadian history.
A history where generations of Indigenous people have been mistreated and oppressed. After learning about the horror...
Yeah, totally right. The gentleman that was just speaking is completely correct. A lot of people probably don't, or at least underestimate, the contributions of I can't say that word today for some reason. Indigenous soldiers and people who served for the military, and also just an overall picture of Canada's treatment of Indigenous people. And they have such a rich culture and are a huge part of Canada, such an important part of Canada. And what was I going to say? Yeah, such a huge part of Canada, a big percentage of Canada's population, right? So they're,
horrors of residential schools, a Dutch couple felt compelled to help.
We thought, well, we give them more attention here. And how can we do that? We do that through the soldiers.
Yvonne and Barry Swartoff operate the only Canadian Legion branch in the Netherlands. Working with Veterans Affairs Canada, they created the Indigenous Legacy Project earlier this year.
You can imagine Holten has 1,394 graves.
A Canadian Legion branch in the Netherlands. Huh. That's awesome.
And then you have to search. Finally, we found 17 of them, but maybe there are more, but 17 at the moment who were First Nations.
In September, 13 of those soldiers were honored when a delegation of family and community members traveled to the grave sites.
This was really a First Nation ceremony, and we get goosebumps. Yeah.
Ottawa has committed to more trips as the project...
Sorry, I thought I knew the Canadian soldier there for a second.
expands to identify Indigenous graves in military cemeteries across Europe.
I took a braid of sweetgrass from my home and I left it there at the foot of his headstone.
A special opportunity to honor Indigenous veterans while connecting them back to their culture and their home. Heather Urix-West, Global News.
And the cultural stuff, that's the important stuff, right? Because that was one of the big goals of the Canadian government at that time, was to have an erasure of First Nations culture, language, art, traditions, Like they wanted to eliminate that stuff and basically make them, you know, for lack of a better way to put it, good Christian Canadians. Like, yeah, they wanted to. There was a famous quote. I can't remember exactly how it is. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like we have to kill the Indian within them, and so allow them to become like real Canadian. Like it was bad, some bad stuff, man. So, all right, we'll see you all in the next one. Another beautiful story. Almost got me crying again.